Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking something that usually brings on a ton of stress, anxiety, and quite frankly, a lot of confusion, and we're just completely demystifying it. We're talking about taxes. Specifically, how to navigate your Ohio state taxes like an absolute pro, without spending a single dime.
Because did you know you could be filing your Ohio taxes completely for free? It's wild, but every single year, thousands of Ohioans unnecessarily hand over their hard-earned cash to commercial software companies. And why? Simply because they just don't realize that incredible, perfectly free online options are sitting right at their fingertips. We are definitely going to fix that today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We'll cover 1. An introduction to Ohio state taxes. 2. Eligibility for free filing. 3. Gathering your required documents. 4. The step-by-step filing process. 5. Common issues and solutions. And finally, 6. The post-filing process.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Introduction to Ohio State Taxes. Why is this so critical?
Well, filing your state return isn't just about doing your civic duty. It's absolutely vital for your financial health. If you just ignore it or assume you don't need to file, you're risking mounting penalties, accruing interest, and getting hit with sudden delinquency notices from the state. The Ohio Department of Taxation has a very clear rule of thumb. If your federal adjusted gross income exceeds $28,450, you really need to file a return. And here's the kicker. Even if you don't owe a single penny, filing creates an active record for the year and literally stops those automatic delinquency billings before they can even start.
Moving right along to Section 2, Eligibility for free filing. Who actually gets to file for free?
Now, what's really interesting here is that your eligibility heavily depends on your adjusted gross income, or AGI. Take a look at the contrast in these income limits. Commercial platforms like Free Tax USA, they cap their free tier. That means your AGI has to be $51,000 or less to actually get that free Ohio return. But native platforms like Cash App Taxes and the state's very own portal, OH Tax e-Services, they have absolutely no limit. None. They are free regardless of how much money you make.
So how do you decide between the two? Well, the native state portal, Ohio Tax e-Services, is brilliant if you were trying to claim specific state credits. Think things like the senior citizen credit or the homeschooling deduction. It is literally built from the ground up for local tax codes. But on the flip side, commercial software through IRS Free File might actually be the easier route if you are an absolute beginner with zero prior Ohio tax filing history. That's simply because the state portal needs past data to verify exactly who you are.
All right, Section 3, Gathering your required documentation. Let's get everything you need to start.
Before you even think about opening a web browser or downloading an app, you've got to have your tools ready. Doing this prep work makes the actual filing a total breeze. Here is your checklist. You'll need your W-2 or 1099 forms, an active Ohio driver's license or ID that was issued more than 2 months ago. Now, if you're using the state portal, you absolutely must have prior tax line amounts to validate your identity online. This means knowing your prior year's income base from line 5, your withholding from line 14, or your refund amount from line 27.
And when you're setting this all up, you're going to hear a lot about an OHID. Please don't let the jargon throw you off. An OHID is simply a single, secure username and password that you use to access multiple Ohio state agency websites. Just think of it as your digital master key to the state's tax system.
Which brings us to Section 4, the step-by-step filing process. This is where we actually file online.
We're going to focus on the state's completely free OH Tax e-Services portal for this walkthrough. Here's exactly how it flows. First, you create your OHID account. Second, and this is an absolutely amazing feature to highly secure your personal data, you set up two-step verification. You can use a text message or an authenticator app for that. Third, you verify your identity on OH Tax using those prior tax lines or wage statements we just talked about. Fourth, you enter your income details while the system basically does the math for you. And finally, you review your work and hit submit.
Oh, and a quick heads up. While you're clicking through the software, you're probably going to see the term IT 1040 pop up. Again, do not be intimidated by the tax jargon. The IT 1040 is literally just Ohio's official individual income tax form. It's the state version of your federal 1040. It's exactly what you use to report your earnings, claim your deductions, and figure out what you owe or, better yet, what the state owes you. And this brilliantly illustrates how certain deductions on that IT 1040 can legally shrink your tax bill. For instance, if your AGI is $40,000 or less, the homestead exemption can shield up to $25,000 of your home's value. Earning under 40 grand, the Child Independent Care Credit drops your overall tax liability. And the Joint Filing Credit can offer up to $650 in tax relief, though it does start to shrink once your income crosses that $75,000 mark.
Let's move right into Section 5, Common Issues and Solutions. This is your troubleshooting guide.
Because look, every tax maze has a few dead ends, right? So let's troubleshoot the biggest roadblocks people run into. First, we absolutely have to clear up a massive source of confusion: state versus local taxes. State taxes are administered by the Ohio Department of Taxation for the whole state. But local or municipal taxes, those are entirely separate processes handled by separate agencies, like RETA or CCA, depending on where you live. Filing your state taxes does not mean you filed your local municipal taxes. You have to do both if your city requires it.
And here are some rapid-fire practical solutions to keep things moving. Missing your W-2? No worries, you can submit your year-end pay stubs instead. Don't have a prior Ohio tax record and can't pass the state's identity verification? Go ahead and just use third-party commercial software. Getting weird, glitchy screens? The state highly recommends using Chrome, Edge, or Safari. And if you are totally stuck and just need a human to help, you can call the Ohio Department of Taxation directly at 1-800-282-1780.
All right, we made it to Section 6, the post-filing process. What happens next?
You've successfully hit submit. Take a breath, because you're almost done. Now you just need to know your deadlines to officially cross the finish line. Employers have to issue your W-2 by January 31st. Then, April 15th is your big deadline for both filing your return and paying any taxes you might owe. Now, the crucial point here is this. While you can totally get an extension to file your return until October 15th, your actual tax payments are still due in April. The extension is just for the paperwork, not the payment.
Real quick, before we wrap things up, I do need to share a professional reminder. This explainer is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal or financial advice. We've covered a lot of really great guidance today, but everyone's personal tax situation is entirely unique. So please make sure you consult a tax professional for personalized guidance if you have complex financial circumstances. So, what does this all mean for you? Are you ready to take control of your taxes and keep more of your hard-earned money this year? I really hope this explainer gave you the confidence to dive right in, use these incredible free tools, and master your Ohio state filings. Thanks for learning with me today, and happy filing.